All right, if you're a wireless tech, you know this feeling all too well. You've done everything by the book. The site survey, the hardware deployment, you've tweaked the network settings until they're perfect. And yet, the complaints just keep coming. The Wi-Fi's slow. Sound familiar? Well, today we're going to hunt down a culprit that's super common, but so often gets overlooked. It might just be the missing piece to your whole troubleshooting puzzle. So just for a little context here, this is part 9 of a 10-part series we're doing for all you professional technicians out there. It's all based on a really detailed report from the folks at RFI Detectives, who are part of Virtualization Options LLC. And today we're diving deep into Chapter 9, which is all about client device settings and compatibility. Okay, let's talk about what I call the perfect network paradox. You've optimized everything. The dashboard is a beautiful sea of green. Your APs are placed perfectly, you've nailed the channel planning to kill interference, and the power levels are just dialed in. The infrastructure is, for all intents and purposes, flawless. But then, that help desk ticket lands. The Wi-Fi is slow. Ugh, it's gotta be one of the most maddening things for any of us in the wireless world, right? So when everything on the network side checks out, what do? Well, it's time to stop staring at your APs and start looking at the things connecting to them. We've got to shift our focus from the network to the client itself. And this really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. There's a quote from the source report that just nails it. Client device settings play an equally important role in network performance and are often overlooked in troubleshooting efforts. Think about it. We pour all this time and energy into making the infrastructure perfect, but we completely forget about the other half of the wireless equation. The actual device in the user's hand. So what do we even mean by that? We're talking about the client-side connection behavior. And look, this isn't just some single checkbox in a menu. It's a whole bunch of things, all the little rules and settings that tell a laptop or a phone how to find a network, how to pick which AP to connect to, and, this is the big one, how to act when it starts moving around the building. All right, first up, let's get into one of the most critical settings you need to look at, roaming aggressiveness. This one little thing, which is often buried deep in some advanced settings menu, can be the make or break factor between a super smooth experience and a connection that's just constantly dropping. Yeah, so think of roaming aggressiveness like a spectrum. On one end, you have low aggressiveness, which creates what we all know as the sticky client. This is that device that holds onto an AP for dear life, even when the signal is terrible and there's a brand new, powerful AP literally right next to it. Then, on the other extreme, you've got high aggressiveness. This is the hyperactive client, the one that gets antsy and jumps between APs every time the wind blows, causing all sorts of annoying reconnects. So obviously, our job is to find that perfect roaming sweet spot in the middle. We need to set up the client so it makes smart, smooth handoffs. It has to be aggressive enough to know when to let go of a bad signal, but not so jumpy that it's roaming when it doesn't need to. When you nail this, that's when your user can walk from one end of the office to the other on a VoIP call, and it's just flawless. No drops, no glitches, just a perfect, stable connection. Okay, let's move on to the next big client-side factor. This one's a constant battle. A real tug of war between saving power and getting top performance. I'm talking about power saving settings. Every single mobile device is trying to squeeze out more battery life, but sometimes that comes at a huge cost to your network's performance. This is what we call the power saving pitfall. So the device cranks up its power saving mode to the max. What does that do? It tells the Wi-Fi radio to take little naps, to go to sleep as often as it can. And the result? Latency goes through the roof. Now, if you're just checking email, you'll probably never notice. But if you're on a video call or a VoIP call, anything that's happening in real time, that extra delay is a killer. It creates jitter, lag, and just an awful experience, even if the user has 5 bars of signal strength. And this puts us, the technicians, right in the middle of a dilemma. See, this isn't really a technical problem to fix. It's a user problem to understand. You've got to ask, what is this device actually for? Is it for someone on the road who absolutely needs every drop of battery life they can get? Or is it for a C-level exec whose laptop needs to have a rock-solid video call, no excuses? The right setting is completely different for each of them, and it all depends on the answer to that question. Okay, so we've talked about the big client-side problems. Now let's pull it all together into a kind of final checklist. This is about adopting a new mindset for troubleshooting, one that puts the client device right there under the microscope, next to the network itself. Think of this as your new field guide. First thing to check, the preferred networks list. You'd be amazed how often an old, wrong profile for a network with the same name is the real villain behind connection failures. Next, roaming aggressiveness. The big thing to watch for here is that classic sticky client, especially in a crowded office, that just won't let go of a distant AP. And last but not least, power saving. The second you hear, my call quality is awful, but you see a strong signal, ding, 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 this should be the very first place you look. I want to leave you with one more quote from that RFI Detectives report because I think it perfectly sums this all up. It says that the ability to handle these Wi-Fi settings is what separates competent technicians from truly exceptional ones. Look, mastering the infrastructure side of things can make you a competent tech, but really understanding and fine-tuning these client-side settings, that's what makes you exceptional. It's about seeing the big picture, the whole ecosystem, from the network closet all the way to the screen in someone's hands. So, to wrap this all up, I'll leave you with a big question to chew on. As all of our networks and devices get smarter and smarter, this whole client-side tuning thing is only going to get more important. So in the future, who should be calling the shots on that split-second roaming decision? Should it be the client, which only knows what it can see? Or should it be the access point, which has a bird's-eye view of the entire network? Seriously, the answer to that question is going to shape the future of wireless. Thanks for tuning in.